It is day 14 of the Euros. And guess what? No games for 2 days. So get to have a little bit of a rest. And as I said to you guys, when I started doing this podcast, I'd tell you a little bit about Cologne, and really haven't had the chance because, well, the footy's been on the whole time. So today, got up kind of early-ish and got myself a Lime scooter. Told you about the Lime scooters. They're great. They're everywhere. They're super cheap, and decided to go exploring. So the first thing I did was go around the parks, local parks. There's tons of them everywhere. And as I've told you, the weather is glorious. The parks were full. I did some exploring, went across the river, took the Zoobrücken bridge across the Rhine River, and went to the fan park, which is opposite the fan park on the other side of the river. Yeah, I know it's a bit confusing, but there's a couple of fan parks everywhere, and this one was absolutely fantastic. 3 grass fields with goals and hoardings all around them. Obviously not full size, but about half-size fields. And then the area within the fan park, there was a little turf five-a-side field with stands, football tables surrounding it, a stage, DJs. I mean, it was really, really cool. And I'm thinking to myself, if we can do something like that in the US, it's going to be absolutely brilliant. Now, I think it could be obviously challenging because obviously US cities are way bigger than Cologne. But I think if we do it right and find cool areas where fans without tickets can come together, play football, watch football, listen to music, have food and drink, it will be superb. The most important thing is that we don't rip the fans off. RTBO. Oh, rip the fans off. RTFO. Yeah. And that's my one concern. Because here, everything's affordable, it's fun, and it's geared towards, young people and families who might not have the thousands of dollars it would cost to go to a game. I mean, if you think about ticket costs, it could get really extortionate. And I'd say Europe does it very well. Makes it affordable, makes it fan-friendly. And, if we put on a fan festival, like they have on the other side of the river, the Rhine River, it's going to be superb. Well, from there, I went swimming. The Schweinstadion, which is the swimming park, was absolutely amazing. 5-minute walk from my friend Ollie's house. €4 to get in. This place had a indoor pool that was second to none, an outdoor pool which I didn't go into because it looked a bit green, but was absolutely rammed. There were people everywhere. I mean, it was like a scene at a beach. And in fact, there was a little beach, a little sandy area, a big slide which I didn't go on. But the age mixture was incredible. Young kids up to old farts like myself. Got a bit of sun, enjoyed the visuals. I mean, it really was just lovely. And then in the evening, went and found an old German restaurant that's been in Cologne for like 100 years, and had I wouldn't call it pulled pork, but some kind of pork dish that was really, really interesting. A couple of kilshes, and had dinner with an old journalist friend of mine named Andrew Warshaw, who has been there. He's done that. He's 72 years of age. He's covered so many tournaments. So I had a little sit-down chat with him about the beautiful game, and then had a chat with our waitress at this restaurant, which was so much fun. So enjoy the chat with Andrew, enjoy the chat with our waitress, and yeah, that was kind of it for the day. I'll be back after the chats. Okay, bye. Andrew, welcome to Inside Euro 2024. Your favourite game today and why?
Favourite game of this tournament so far? Well, probably the one I watched on TV, Netherlands and Austria. I mean, Austria, the dark horses of many people, and Netherlands need no introduction, go back decades. And although they haven't had that much success in recent years, I think everybody has a soft spot, don't they, for the Netherlands. I don't really know how to follow your introduction, though, Nick. That was extremely complimentary. But you're right, I have covered a lot of these events before, but not for 6 years.
Well, you talk about the Netherlands, and I think they're everybody's maybe second favourite team after Brazil. Everyone loves Brazil, and then it's the Netherlands. You were at the game last night, though, Portugal against Georgia, and history was made, number one. But you mentioned something about the reaction of the Georgian fans and the players. Describe that to me.
Yeah, it was quite extraordinary, actually, Nick. I've been to a lot of games when managers and staff and substitutes rush off the bench to congratulate the players, but this was a bit special. Firstly, the speed in which they did it, and it was quite interesting in the press conference afterwards because Willy Sagnol, the manager of Georgia, was saying how in the last few minutes, every 10 seconds, he was looking at the clock, and so you get a feel for just what it meant to all of them, and really it's to see them singing and dancing with the Georgian fans at the Georgian end of the stadium, with history being made, was just quite extraordinary. The lowest ranked team in the competition, beating the team ranked 6th in the world, the biggest gap in terms of rankings in European Championship history, and it was really a privilege to be there.
That's one of the great things actually about these tournaments. We look at the brackets, we always get at least one wrong, maybe two wrong. In the tournaments that you've covered, other than last night, what's the biggest shock result you've seen?
You know what? I don't know about shock result. Seeing Korea get as far as they did. I mean, I think as host nation, you always expect the host nation to do well. But I think, unlike, for instance, South Africa, unlike, for instance, Qatar, that seeing South Korea get as far as they did in 2002, if I'm not mistaken, actually I'm showing my age now, Nick, was just, that kind of massive pink will always stick in my mind.
Yeah, funnily enough, that's where we met, on a train. I'm not sure where the train was going. It was probably going back to Seoul, and somehow you...
Yeah, you've been waiting 22 years for me to buy you a beer ever since, Nick.
That's right. Yeah, you diddled me out at $20 or $30, if I'm not mistaken. That really was incredible because an entire country seemingly mobilised behind the team, and the energy that they gave this team was off the charts. And you mentioned Qatar, which you went to as a fan, and obviously South Africa, you were there as a journo. I never got that sense that the country's mobilised behind the team. Why do you think that happened in South Korea at that moment in time?
Firstly, if I'm not mistaken, football has always been passionately followed in South Korea. Secondly, the fact that I think that it was in Asia, okay, it was in Qatar, but you're talking a generation earlier. I think both those things had a huge impact. And also, I think, the expectations, I don't think anybody quite expected Korea to do what they did. And so I've rarely been at a tournament, what do I mean? I've rarely been at a tournament where the fans, the country sort of pushes the team over the line, if you like. It didn't happen in South Africa. I don't really think it happened in Qatar, but it certainly happened in Korea. And also, don't forget, in those days, the idea of having joint hosts was anathema to a lot of people, but it worked. And it worked, I think, a large extent because of how remarkable Korea were in that tournament.
Last thing, you've told me before, I'm going to give you 60 seconds, only 60 seconds. Right. Tell me why Glenn Hoddle is the greatest player that's ever lived.
Okay. Well, firstly, I'm biased because although I'm a board member of a little
Don't waste your time.
non-league team, I won't waste my time. Okay, Tottenham Hotspur has always been in my blood, and therefore, if a team's in your blood, you always pick out one or two players who get your blood rushing. And Glenn Hoddle, in terms of skill set, was firstly he's in my Tottenham all-time 11, but he's probably, if not the best, very close to number one with Pat Jennings and one or two others. But I've only got 60 seconds, so I can't name them all.
I'm Christina. I'm 29 years old and I'm living in Cologne. I'm a waitress in one of the oldest brewery in Cologne.
Talking of breweries, why is Kölsch beer so popular and so famous?
I think because it's the most delicious one, because everyone is talking about it's too small, but it's the right size because of the air and the air condition. I can explain it in English, but it's the right combination of the beer, of the experience, and the waitress and the Köbis, that's the Cologne waiter, are fast enough to get you a new one, and you have the most delicious beer you ever had.
That is very true. The beers do keep coming. It never gets too warm because by the time you've drunk it, it's already come again. This restaurant, beautiful, very historic. Why is it so popular with the locals?
Because of the tradition. We are one of the oldest one. We knew the father of the father of the father. They were drinking the beer here, so the children came with the father, and that's a tradition. It's a feeling because of the waiter and the waitresses, because of their mouth, because of their language, because of their attitude. That's because you have to go to an old brewery in Cologne.
So you come to Cologne. What should I order to eat?
You should order, in Cologne we said Surbrade, Himmel und Erd, Haxefleisch, a pork knuckle. It's the most traditional one, I think so. And that are the 3 meals you have to eat.
One quick message for the listeners in German. This is why you should come to Cologne.
Ihr solltet nach Köln kommen, weil es einfach das geilste Feeling auf der Welt ist. Ihr habt offene Menschen, die reden mit jedem. Auch wenn du alleine nach Köln kommst, du kannst irgendwen auf der Straße ansprechen. Hatte ich letzte Woche. Ich habe einen Schweden kennengelernt. Der ist einfach mit hier hingekommen. Geilster Abend. Er sagte, danke für den Kölner Abend.
Dankeschön. So Christina was absolutely delightful, as was Andrew, my dinner companion. And that was it for day 14, the rest day. Day 15 coming up is another rest day. My good friend Ollie is actually celebrating his, I think, 47th birthday and has an evening planned at a Hofbrau. Not sure what's going to go on there, but I would imagine lots of German beer and German food. So stand by for day 15, and I'm also getting prepared for the knockout rounds. I'm off to Berlin for Switzerland versus Italy. Not sure whether I'm going to take the night train or the early morning train on Saturday. It's about 4.5, 5 hours, depending on the icy special you get. And as I've said before, German trains aren't exactly running on time during these Euros. Very un-German-like. So, we'll make some informed decisions as we get closer to Saturday.